I don't. The DNA, that's just going down another hole there because, there are some tests that are done, but it has a lot to do with who's doing the test, and they're only going to match it up to something that's already on their database. They say if it's something that just is not in the database, like part of it is human, but part of it isn't, they'll just say it was contaminated and just say, it was probably just animal contamination or something to it. So that's why you can't get anything conclusive from it. You know what I mean?
Well, I hate to say it. I really think, and I got in trouble the last time I said this, but if a hunter is out there and sees a Bigfoot, okay, and it's not your best friend dressed in a Bigfoot costume to scare you, shoot it. Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. We need the evidence. Seriously, I've talked to a couple scientists from the University of Washington. That would, at that point, if they have a body or the head or an arm or a leg of a Bigfoot, that would be all the proof that the scientists need to establish that it does exist. I mean, we just can't keep going on with, these plaster footprints and stuff like that. We got to get some real proof. And I think that would right there show that they exist. And at that point, they can make laws, can't they, to protect them?
There's actually a town up in Washington, I believe, that actually has it on their books or ordinance that protects them from being harmed. I don't remember the city, but it does exist somewhere on somebody's books.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about, from the standpoint right now, is we do need to have some type of proof that they exist. And how many more dozens and dozens of years have to go by without actual proof? I mean, seriously, everybody claims that they saw, including me, a Bigfoot, or it could have been a hairy man. Who knows? But the point is, without proof, any proof, then all it is a tale, unless we get some actual proof. You can go, people fake Bigfoot footprints like you wouldn't believe. There was a guy up by Kelso. It really enjoyed doing that for many, many years. He got too old to do it. He would go out and make fake, Bigfoot prints and stuff like that for people could go out and find it.
Well, the problem comes in, what do you constitute as proof?
A dead one.
I mean,
if you have their head, you got an arm, or you got their leg, you got proof right there that they exist, don't you?
I would not be any part of that personally, but if someone did, but I'll tell you what, if that did exist, and which probably has already happened, it would be snatched up by the powers that be just to keep it from the public's eye. That's my opinion. Well,
that's where what you do is you don't go to the authorities right away. If you go out and you accidentally shot a Bigfoot while you're hunting for deer, you take it not to the authorities, you take it to a TV station. You take it to someplace, a media, where it'll get out worldwide right away. I mean, at this point, you're not going to be charged with murder, but shooting a Bigfoot, because they're not established as a human being or actually on the books as anything at this point.
Yeah, that's, I've come up with a way a few years ago how to track and catch one and release one alive. And I've never told anybody how to do it because I don't know. But I think that would be a better way to do it rather than just kill one. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, but you know how many people have been out there, including some TV shows, okay, going out trying to find Bigfoot, and they haven't found it, okay? The whole point is, if you actually have proof that one exists, physically, something of it, okay, then it establishes that species does exist. Then they can write laws in the books. It protects them, okay, as endangered species or whatever. Then they can put laws on it. Like if you kill one, you can go to prison for murder. I mean, whatever. At this point, there's nothing like that. So what are you going to do? I mean, we can just keep collecting, plaster footprints. Okay, we can write books about it, and a lot of the Bigfoot hunters I've had on my show for all the years, none of them has seen a Bigfoot.
It's all fable.
I'm pretty sure your
Well-
state has got an ordinance that you can't harm or kill them. I'm pretty sure Washington had something like that not too long ago.
No, there's a city in Washington State, a little town. It has it on their books. But would that hold up in a court of law? I don't think so. I mean, that'd be a civil type of thing, or or a misdemeanor. I mean, at this point, too, they're established. Are they a humanoid, or are they a playmate, or are they, same as a chimpanzee or ape? I mean, they have to distinguish what they are before you can be charged with murder. And at this point, we don't know because we don't have one.
True.
I start thinking about that, where people are wondering about proof all the time, and usually it's people who get on there and they haven't had an experience of seeing, or multiple experiences of seeing one. And for someone like myself and my friends we've had multiple experiences of seeing them, that doesn't ring the whole proof thing. Is that we're not trying to prove that they exist anymore, because we're satisfied ourselves personally that they do exist because we've actually seen them. So for everyone else, it's like, that might demand proof. All I can say is that, I hope you do have an experience, but I hope they don't have an experience like you had up in in Canada. I mean, hopefully it's a benign one. So that's all I can say right now.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I can only say this, okay, from my experience. I don't think Bigfoot, all of them, are friendly, just like I don't think all humans are friendly. I think if they're not used to humans, then they might take humans as a threat, the same way you would take them as a threat. What I want to do is protect them if they do really exist, or if that was maybe a figment of my imagination, or maybe it was a alien from a UFO. Who knows? I don't know what it was. It was just a creature that I don't know what it was for sure. But I can tell you this, it wasn't human. Now, that's what the proof that is what we need. We need to establish that they do exist, and then we can then put stuff in the books to protect them. Till then, it's nothing more than fable. I mean, seriously. And I don't want to see that and keep hearing that. I want to see some proof of it.
I can understand the frustration. Yeah, good, James.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Bigfoots are very efficient. I think they may bury their scat, and they may dispose of their dead as well. And I think they're very efficient, and they cover their tracks. I don't know. That's my opinion anyway.
But do you see, you're just coming up with that opinion, James, because you're a human.
Well, that's true. That's true. But where's all the like you said? Where's all the scat in the bodies then?
Well, I guess out in the forest. I mean, it's going to be really hard to find. Isn't Bigfoot poop just laying every which way? I mean, I'm sure they poop out where people aren't going to see it. And then after it breaks down, which it doesn't take long to break down out in the woods, I mean, the trace of it. Now, as of dying, who knows what they do with their dead? Maybe they even eat their dead. Who knows? But the whole point is, it doesn't take long in a forest for it to decompose, and it doesn't take long before the skeleton remains starts dissipating out everywhere because of all the different animals. It'll drag off the arms, legs, and whatever, and the next thing you know, it's scattered every which way.
That's true with any animals, and that's why you don't find remains very, very much, unless it's a large elk or something. You actually find their bones or something like that, but generally speaking, a lot of smaller animals, you don't find any remains because they're gone pretty quickly. There's predators it's the dog-eat-dog world in the animal world. So, if something dies, it's going to be picked up by something else,
Yeah, and drug off. And then I don't know if it was you or somebody else, even the bones, there's critters out there in the woods that'll even eat the bones. So, I mean, it doesn't take long before something is done. Do they bury their dead? Well, the Indians used to not bury their dead. They used to, put them up for their spirits to go up to the heavens. Who knows what Bigfoot does? But the point is, and I'm not trying to be a bad guy here. I just want to see some proof of Bigfoot really exists, and then get some protection for him. because right now there's no real protection for them. And who knows? I mean, how many people go vanishing out in the woods? Maybe they run into an unfriendly Bigfoot, and hey, they become dinner for that Bigfoot.
Maybe.
It's hard to say.
Good point.
It's hard to say what you're running into. Go ahead. Yep.
I was just going to say, I think a good plan of attack to maybe get some scat for evidence is to, in late spring, early summer, follow the ripeness of berries. I think they would follow that, like migrate where the berries are ripening, and you would have, like bears do, and maybe you could find some scat there. I don't know. I mean, that'd be one plan of attack, maybe.
Well, see, there's another thing too, is when people find evidence. I'm just playing devil's advocate on this. But they do find the evidence, like the scat. We've actually had people that find big, huge pile of it. Just unless the bear was eating like a tremendous amount of food and decided it was constipated, and all of a sudden it all came out at one time, it was a pretty large pile. So the problem is most people won't know what to do at that point, or find some legitimate place where they can take it to that can actually do the testing without worrying about the kind of issues we just brought up earlier about the, government involvement or somebody trying to cover it up. So it's trying to find the right testing facility that is actually taking an interest in honestly reporting, honestly reporting the results to the public. And unless you have those well known that people can actually get their stuff to, it's just going to be fragmented, and it's just not going to. You're going to have a hit and miss situation, and it'll be all mixed in with all the disinformation and everything else out there. So that's the problem. And that's why people just zone out, and they just figure, well, there's no proof for anything. The proof may exist out there, but it just doesn't get in the right hands for testing.
Well, I would honestly think, okay, if you're in a moist area, for example, like next to a river, and I've talked to some Bigfoot hunters that got, a plaster cast of the Bigfoot in the mud. But, you sit there and say, well, did you ever think about scooping some of that mud up and put it in a jar and then have it tested for DNA? No, they don't think about this. So if they're not thinking about this stuff, they shouldn't even be out there looking for Bigfoot. I mean, seriously, they should be educated enough to know if they stumble across, footprints of Bigfoot, you don't just take a plaster footprint of it. You would collect some soil samples and stuff like that, for you can have it tested for DNA. Even if it's for your own self, you send it to the lab and they come back and, they say, yeah, well, there's something there, humanoid mixed with something else. We don't know what it is. At least that gives you the proof, that you got something. But they don't think about that.
Yeah, and there's another new DNA technique where they are filtering the water from streams and rivers where maybe a Bigfoot has walked through it or something and left DNA. That's another new technique that they're using for to find DNA. And I think that if more people would do that, we would probably find something.
Well, I don't know about the water thing. Is if they could actually, I think with all the people finding, Bigfoot footprints and hair and all this stuff. I mean, I think it's time. If you're going to go out looking for Bigfoot, you really need to be prepared and educated enough to collect the right type of, scat and DNA and all that stuff to, prove that they exist. Then I wouldn't feel so bad. Then I would say we don't need to shoot one, but nobody has done this. And all the years going out looking for Bigfoot, they're not collecting the right type of stuff to prove that it exists. Granted, they got footprints. I'd rather have footprints than DNA.
Well, if you can actually get, usually it's just the average person that finds this stuff, and they're trying to do their best to sometimes gather the proof. But then, then there's a claim of contamination because it isn't a researcher that actually goes there and when the stuff is found and actually collects it properly. So it's a mixed situation because it's usually the average person that's finding this stuff.
Yeah, well, then there's a lot of hunters that go out there and find it too, and they should be educated enough to know what to be looking for. Anyway, we're going to be on break for the next 2.5 minutes. We have James, we have Sam, and we got me, Gary, on Night Dreams Talk Radio. So we'll be back